Could you go a step further and have a little bit of fun?
Well, as a government lawyer, I'd be looking to...
As a company. You know, you mentioned the Italian mopeds case.
Yeah.
What can you say? Is CAC still relevant?
You could make a case it's been overruled by the Chinese case.
I think you can have a little bit of fun here. You could simply say, and by the way, recent case law confirms that the application of CAC looks very limited. In Italy against Commission, the court refused any kind of extension of CAC, and they simply apply the access to market test, done. So you're not saying that the court has overruled it, but you can make the point that, you know, it's not like in the 90s. You know, it's quite clear that the CAC test, you know, the court never applies CAC anyway, right? So, look, think about an example. Scotch whiskey. Scotch whiskey, remember, is a price fixing thing. Is it a selling arrangement? There's nothing in the judgment. Not even a mention. Nothing. Right? So, you know, the court didn't even engage with whether the question was a selling arrangement or not. So I think that to be completely on the safe side, A, you tell me that you know that CAC exists, and you know how to tackle it by using two classic judgments like D'Agostini and CAC. And again, you give me the extra point I was saying, look, in recent years, the court goes for the access to market test only. Yeah? Commission against Italy, mopeds, and perhaps even Scotch whiskey. Yeah? And again, your question is just becoming, the answer is just like 76, 78, 80. Okay. Okay. Now, the only thing is, how about proportionality? Because is this a total ban? Oh, sorry. Because if the law says it can be advertised in pubs, bars and restaurants, as well in specialized gastronomic magazines. Is this proportionate restriction? What do you think? Because, you know, it's not like in gourmet. Remember, gourmet was a Swedish law which simply says no advertising in any media, not there, no blah, 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 you know, completely total ban, not on poster, not on TV, not on the pub, nothing, zero. So it's a total ban. Here... Oh, sorry, if I indistinctly pick up, sorry, I do apologize.
No,
because, you know, here again, here you can save money. Yes, you can save money. You can save money by simply not taking the exam. Sorry, you can save time by simply saying, as I explained before, it's an indistinct applicable measure, blah, 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 consumer protection, public health. I would simply say at the same point, okay? At the same point. On proportionality?
It's pretty narrow, isn't it? Where you can advertise so that...
From the company point of view, would that be enough to have access to advertising in pubs and restaurants? Remember, the drink is also consumed mostly, but where? At home, okay? You see that again, it's a small point, factual point, but if you let me advertise on pubs, it's not exactly my market. You know, I'm targeting consumer that they sit down at home with a 1 liter vodka and then I don't know what they do with it. But, you know, just, you know, we don't want to inquire about that. But then again, from the company perspective, that could also be strictly necessary. I'm sorry, let the consumer decide how much they want to drink at home, maybe just have half a glass before going to bed, whatever, right? It's a consumer habit. And then again, it's a disproportion because there are less restrictive alternatives, or so on and so forth. You can actually have a warning sign, for instance, on advertising. You can let me advertise on the street by simply saying alcohol can actually be dangerous or whatever, drink carefully, you know, that kind of thing, right? That's a less restrictive alternative, right? So therefore, you can advertise widely the Biberova thing, but with a warning sign, that kind of thing. That's a less restrictive alternative. Again, just to finish on this point, if I ask you, you are the government representative, once again, I'm sorry, but people at home drink a lot, you don't know what's happening in Poland, you know, it's a moral, social, cultural value, and then we need to enjoy a certain degree of discretion, it's my decision, goodbye, right? Again, you would turn around the argument, okay? Now, seriously, on proportionality, you can actually play a little bit around with cases. You see? So what, what I hope that I gave you is a sort of the correct structure with a little bit of extra points, which would simply help your argument. And again, you make the answer engaging, because obviously you take sides, you have a little bit of fun, whatever, that kind of thing. A little bit of fun. I know that maybe at the exam you think, not exactly the most fun experience, I'm sure, but although if you sit in Tobago or whatever, that might be nice. I don't know. But yeah. I'd like to come and invigilate if I can. Is that clear? Sorry, I went really fast, but now you see that I would simply say that this is a very good structure for an economic, sort of trade-related question. Goods, services, establishment, you name it, capital, if ever, okay. Would you say, so I'll ask a question to you. Would you say that the same kind of structure could be replicated if by chance you need to answer a free movement of individuals scenario, yes or no? What do you think? I would simply say that probably yes, okay? So, let's say you have a free movement of workers questions. Again, remember, in that particular situation, you will need to check immediately whether the person is self-employed or whether he's employed by somebody, okay? That's important in that area. Self-employed is free movement of services, employed workers. And again, I would probably say that, once you identify the relevant freedom, it would be Article 45. Access to the market in the area of person is a little bit easier because 99% of the cases, they refer to discrimination on the grounds of nationality in reality. Apart from Bosman, most of the cases on workers are still very much based on the nationality of the workers. It's by definition a freedom which is much more linked to the nationality of the individuals concerned. But then again, here you will have to show that the provision does take into account the nationality of the person in question. Then you will need to, again, to deal with justification. Justification, as you know, they are contained in Article 45 itself, and there's the public service exception, which applies very rarely, only if you are James Bond, that's just, or an admiral of stuff like that. And then proportionality. On free movement of workers, I would go for the Charter. On free movement of workers, I'll be very inclined to go for it. Because let's say you have a social benefit, you have a family reunification, whatever. I think the Charter does play a little bit of extra role. In the area of free movement of services and goods, could be the right of property, could be the right of advertising, or on behalf of the government, maybe public health, that kind of thing. But probably on free movement of workers, you can play with things. Let's say you have, a deportation thing, right? Let's say, again, sometimes you have this kind of cases whereby, you have someone that moved to another country, they are employed, then they go and strike against pension cuts at universities. The university sack that person, and actually he reacted badly and he actually hit the vice chancellor. So the police decide to deport it. Okay, that kind of thing, right? Obviously, you're going to go through the public order, public security justification. But then, would you go for a Charter thing, a deportation? You've been working in a country for 10 years. What are you going to say? Maybe you married them with children.
How about due process? If you're deported.
Due process, very good. Due process. Maybe you didn't give me enough reason. Maybe you didn't give me a judicial remedy, sort of judicial protection. As I say, maybe family life could be a point. So you see that again, remember, when you're using the Charter, I don't need you to start thinking about cases. You can even say it's a right protected and enshrined by the Charter, okay? In Article, family life is Article 8. 7, okay. You see, that, again, it shows that you can use it. And obviously, the free movement of workers are a little bit more related, okay? Now, what are the differences, however, between a goods or services question and a worker one? What would you need to look at? And that's why the extra complication.